Good evening and welcome to episode 8, series 2 of Oxsports Unleashed, the number 1 sports show in Oxfordshire. Well, that's what we like to say anyway. Welcome wherever you are, in your bathrooms, your living rooms, your jacuzzis, your sheds, your garages, wherever you are, welcome to Thursday Night Live at 8 o'clock for another episode of Oxsports Unleashed, where we showcase grassroots sports around our wonderful county of Oxfordshire. Thanks for joining us. Still looking for people to send us clips. Anything you've got would be brilliant. A funny incident, wherever it might be in any sport, please do send it to us at our email address of oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com on your screens there. Thank you for that. Packed programme tonight. Can we get it in within the hour? Who knows? Who knows? But we'll get straight to it.
Yeah, we will indeed, and we will start with, as we always do, with football and Oxford City. We travelled up to Buxton with Oxford City last Saturday, and as I was climbing up through the hills into the snow, the game was on, but the snow, I think, got into the audio for the cameraman, because this is some highlights without any sound whatsoever. So we'll just go through this for you. It was a bit of a controversial game for Oxford City, to be honest, because they played really well and probably should have got a point from the game. So as you can see, lots of snow around the pitch. Buxton took a pretty early lead, a decent strike that, but it was a bit of a mistake from the defender. The left back that allowed Buxton to burst through and score. The goalkeeper really didn't have much of a chance. It was a good finish, to be fair. That put Buxton 1-0 up. As the rain pelted down and the snow melted around the pitch, it is a 3G, so that's why. There was that goal from Jayden Carbon. I'm going to say it was a cross come shot. I don't think he was shooting from there, but as you can see,
decent goal.
As you can see, if he was shooting, that is a goal of the season contender, but I'm going to say that was a cross that got caught in the wind. Unfortunately, though, despite that, Buxton did score again. A parry from the goalkeeper and into the back of the net to make it 2-1 to the home side. And by this point, I was very, very cold. It was throwing it down my way.
Ross, a 2-1 defeat against Buxton. That one's got a really sour taste to it, because the lads, in my opinion, deserved a lot more from that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just spoke to the radio. I'm fuming with it, really. We need decisions to go for you. We've worked our absolute socks off to get something out of this game. We played some really good football, and I thought we were the better team for large periods. But we had to respect Buxton. They're a good footballing team as well, but we knew what we had to do. The boys stuck to their task. We've given away 2 poor goals, really. First half, Jalen's got covered around the channel, which we spoke about in training. And the second one comes from just clearly Lyon's Jayden. Don't dribble, don't take a risk there. Clearly Lyon's and fight to live whatever fight another day. But yeah, just fuming with the decision, really, because the boys work so hard to get back into things. But it is what it is.
Yeah, pretty angry Ross Jenkins there. Didn't show you on the highlights, but there was a offside goal given, and quite frankly, he was onside by about
miles on. And I don't moan at referees very often, but he was about Josh Parker was probably about 3 yards onside, 2 players the other side of him, and the assistant decided to flag for offside. And to be honest with you, a 2-2 draw would have been the least Oxford City deserved. They did play really well against a side that are in the playoffs as well. So really disappointing result for Oxford City, and they are still struggling, unfortunately, at the wrong end of the National League North table at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't need decisions like that going against you when it is a struggle. We will show you their midweek exploits later in the show, so stay tuned for that. That takes us again to our normal roundup of all the local football.
Not much this week.
Not much, because it was Storm Burt sort of had a say in things, didn't it?
Just a bit.
Just a little bit. But it's Lock, Lyon and Ryde, or as I like to call them, Captain Kirk, Mr Spock and Dr McCoy.
I think if it was Storm Burt, you could have called it the Muppet Show with Burt and Ernie.
Could have done.
There you go.
Oh, a bad day in the office for Oxford United on Saturday.
Yes, Colin, it started really well for United, didn't it? They went 1-0 up, and I thought, here we go, they've got an opportunity here. But I think there was a a series of contentious refereeing decisions in this game, which didn't help United. But losing 6-2 at home is bad. I mean, you can't blame the referee for all the 6 goals, I don't think. So I think you get a lot of freak results when the weather is bad, and we see a lot of games around the country where goals are going in all over the place. So I wouldn't be too disheartened if I'm Oxford United, because Middlesbrough are a pretty good team. But even so, being 1-0 up at home, you like to think they'd have done a better job.
Yeah, and also I had the first Christmas song from the Terraces on Saturday. They were singing "Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells, Jingle All the Way." Oh, what fun it is to see Borough win away! And I was not happy about that because I forgot my gloves. My tea had gone cold at that point. Anyway, Paul, a far better day for Whitney Town, though.
Yes, Whitney win 3-1 against East Oxford yesterday. Moved up to second in the league table, so they're right where they want to be. Playing really well at present. Let's hope they can keep the form going in the next few weeks and cement their position at the top. There's a little bit of a gap appearing below them now, so there's only, I think, 3 teams in contention for promotion. Horrible day to play football, but at Whitney, the 3G and a nice shout around the edge of the pitch is actually pretty good. And never any danger of the games being off at Whitney, same as at Oxford City. So, so it's good to get the game on despite the weather conditions.
And 75 turned up to an atrocious weather, Paul. That's going to be really...
that's a good attendance considering the weather. It's there was no away support at all. It was one man and his dog from the away team. But yeah, 70 odd from the home supporters on a really horrible day. And I think the end of November, start of December is a strange time for attendances, because people are doing Christmas shopping. The weather's getting cold and wet, and people don't tend to go out as much. So yeah, it was pleasing we got that many there.
Now, Patrick Lock, you are a hardcore Oxford City fan, along with the famous Pads, but you weren't quite hardcore enough to go all the way out to Buxton on Saturday afternoon, were you?
No, I've been a bit of a part-timer this year, to be totally honest. Had initially planned to, but the weather forecast kind of put us off it a little bit, really. The ground I wanted to do, but 6 hours sat in the wind and rain in a car didn't really sound too appetizing. But I mean, to be honest, I'm completely surprised they even got the game on, really, with the snow up there.
Well, I think the non-league paper said that it was down to the fans, I think, the volunteers who did a sterling job getting on. But actually, 2-1 defeat, if you'd gone all that way and seen a defeat, you would be even more unhappy, wouldn't you, Patrick?
Yeah, and by the sound of the commentary of Kieren and Andy, it sounded very cold up there as well, and they were talking about how bad the weather was. But yeah, it sounded like City did pretty well, though, and talking about contentious refereeing decisions, it sounded like there was one against City on Saturday as well, where Josh Parker scored and was flagged offside, and apparently the replay's showing that he was at least a couple of yards on. So I'm sure I know Ross Jenkins had a bit of a moan about that in his interview. So yeah, anyway.
Okay, so Banbury United, though, they did much worse, I think, didn't they, on Saturday afternoon, Patrick?
Yeah, they've had a lean run of late, and that's continued against Harbour, actually, who've obviously had a good FA Cup run this season. Though only goal actually came from Alex Morris' own goal, so scored for them, really. But yeah, bad day for them in the Southern League Premier Central.
And Paul, Banbury are struggling to put together consistently sort of performances that will bag 3 points on a regular basis.
Yeah, like Patrick said, the run of form's not been good. I think that's 4 games now for Banbury without a victory. And we've seen it a lot, haven't we, this season? Teams that have got relegated, and you think they're going to do well in the lower division, but they struggle. They struggle to, I think maybe when you've had a tough season, and it's been hard to get results, getting that relegation doesn't really help you. You need to get some results on the table, and then maybe you can get some form back. But I think Banbury now moving down towards the wrong end of the table. I know they're still in the middle, but if the run of form continues, they'll be on the edge of the relegation zone soon. And Harbour were quite near the bottom, weren't they? They were just outside the relegation zone, and to lose 4-1 to a team down there must be worrying for Banbury.
Well, that's in total contrast to Tame United, with the star man Jefferson Louis to be putting together a bit of a promotion push, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, they've been talking about wins after win for them in recent weeks, and yeah, another big win 4-0 against Aylesbury United. A win that's actually seen them actually finally getting the playoff positions actually, and they've got a couple of games in hand on the teams below. So that's a good result for them. Dan West and Harry Alexander scored in the first 10 minutes of the game, actually. So rapid start for them. And then, as you say, Jefferson Louis scored in the 73rd minute and goal of the season contender. I'm sure you're watching the goal on top of here right at the moment, but absolute rocket into the top corner with 15 minutes to go. And Hayden Beadle scored with 15 minutes to play, with 5 minutes to play actually, to secure what was a really good win for them there. So yeah, it's looking good for Tame amongst other teams in the county at the moment.
Okay, Patrick, take us through the rest of last Saturday's local football results, please.
Yeah, as expected, the schedule was fairly decimated by the weather. Only 3 more games actually to talk about. At Ardley United, they were victorious against Berks County actually at home. They won 3-1. They were 2-0 up at half-time with Anaclet Odiambo getting both the goals in the first half before Torrey and Njogu got the third. Again, they're doing well recently and they've moved up to 6th in the combined counties north now. And we can hear from what assistant manager Julian McCalman said after the game now.
Difficult circumstances. Weather was awful, wasn't it? Atrocious. And I just thought we were professional. When you come to a place, to a team that you've beat convincingly early on in the season, although I didn't think that the score sort of mirrored the game that game. I thought everything we'd done went in our favour. I actually think they're a good side. They're going to be at it. And I thought we dealt with that really well. Constantly looked to threat, created some lovely chances, played some good football, and probably was disappointing with a goal because, again, it come from our mistake. But on the whole, it's another 3 points, a difficult place in difficult weather. So yeah, delighted and looking forward to Tuesday.
Elsewhere in the combined counties, Burnham were 3-0 winners over Wallingford and Crowmarsh, whilst Milton's game against Risborough Rangers, obviously Mark Jones's team at the moment, was postponed. And in the United Counties League, Easington Sports game was called off against Ayleston Park, again caused by the weather. In Hellenic Division 1, Wantage Town were victorious again. They won 3-2 away at Ludlow Town. Callum Crook scored another hat-trick. It's at least the second one we spoke about since we started Oxfordshire Unleashed again. This would move them back up to 4th in the league. And that's actually 6 wins on the spin for them. So really good run of form for them. But otherwise, all of the games in the division involving Oxfordshire sides were called off. Similar story on Sunday as well. Actually, it was only Oxford United women's game, which survived the weather on Oxford City's 3G pitch. They had a big women's FA Cup game actually, and they came out 1-0 winners against Watford to avenge the men's side's defeat a couple of weeks ago. I guess you'd say with that one. Vitalia Bidieva scored the only goal in that game after 70 minutes. Which was actually made more impressive with a penalty save from the Oxford United keeper just 8 minutes later to secure that win and see them progress in the Women's FA Cup. As I say, Abingdon United's game was called off and Oxford City weren't actually due to play today anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much all what happened this weekend, Colin.
Well, at least the weather's warming up a little bit, so hopefully there'll be a full fixture list this coming weekend. For the time, Patrick Lock and Paul Lyon. I'm Colin Ryde, handing back to the main studio for much more Ox Sports Unleashed.
Thanks there to the Enterprise crew, Kirk, Spock and McCoy, also known as Lock, Line and Ryde. We thank them for their excellent roundup of last weekend's football results, which is brilliant. Now, changing sports totally, this is another sport we haven't featured on Ox Sports Unleashed, and we've been joined recently by Blake Bint, who has put this really nice interview together with triathlete Ben Cumberland, and we've got all the bits for you now.
Ben Cumberland, thank you for joining me here. So we're just going to talk a little bit about your sort of career as it's sort of starting, but also it's been ongoing for some time now. So you do triathlon. So still obviously very young, just come back from the World Under-23 Championships, as I understand it, and also competing while studying at university in Loughborough as well. So just talk a little bit about how you got into the sport, because it's not a common one to stumble across.
Yeah, so I was primary school year 3, I think it was, and a teacher of mine at the school came up to me after I think I had a cross country award or something awarded to me in primary school. She said, "Oh yeah, I know you swim as well. Are you interested in doing triathlon?" I was like, "Potentially, yeah, yeah." And then went from there, joined the local triathlon club in Farringdon, and then got to know more and more people, and slowly progressed through the sport to where I am today.
So just talk a little bit about that journey. I mean, I know obviously when the further up you go, there's obviously a larger competing circle, and obviously it's a massive, Olympic sport, and the 3 disciplines in itself are, quite well known and well established. So did you find any sort of difficulty adapting to one particular discipline, or did it all just sort of come naturally to you?
3 sports. So yes, you've got to manage 3 sports, but you've got 3 different sports to keep you interested, keep you hungry, and keep kind of pursuing improvements in all 3. Whereas if you hit only doing 1 sport, for example, which it may be easier to manage, but if you get stuck with 1 sport, let's say pick up a bit of an injury or something, you've got to change everything. Whereas with triathlon, you can just reduce one of them and keep the others going, and that way your fitness basically stays the same, and you're still enjoying it because you can still do what you want to do.
So if we talk about competition, do you remember your first one, how old you were and how many people you came up against, how you got on?
My first triathlon, I think I was about 10. It was a place called Westonbirt School, fairly near to Bristol, I think it was. And I raced that race in a pair of swimming trunks. And then after the swim, I put an athletics vest on for the bike and the run. And I was on an old mountain bike. No, it was good fun. I think I came 3rd.
Oh, well, that's a decent start to your career, isn't it?
No, it was good fun. I was miles behind 1st and 2nd, but I was having a great time.
And if we just talk about training, like you said, it's 3 different sports. Is there one you find particularly difficult, or do you think now you're sort of you managed to spread out your training across all 3 to make sure that neither one of the 3 slip?
I think, well, I came from a swim run background, so the bike was where I initially started to struggle. But having done kind of 10 years of triathlon, you kind of, to an extent, iron out weaknesses, and you basically have ones that you're weaker at rather than significant weaknesses. So yeah, I'd say the bike is probably where my weakest bit is. Potentially the swim as well. But yeah, I'd say that I've got weaker elements, but I wouldn't say it's a significant weakness in a way.
Well, and I'm sure that is the case, because if we just talk about your successes, so 11th in the Under-23 World Championship this year, I'll come back to that because you've won big races before. Was it a European Championship in a duo triathlon or something like that? You'd probably be able to
duathlon, yeah.
Yeah, explain it a bit better than me, Ben.
So that was the 2021 Duathlon World Championships out in Avilés in Spain. So yeah, that was a 5K run, a 20K bike, and a 2.5K run. And yeah, I had a really good race that day. There were kind of 3 of us on the last run together, and I was lucky to be on a really good day and had the best kick at the end.
So is that when you sort of thought your senior career was going to kick off, or was there, what sort of age, I haven't asked you, what sort of age did you realize this could be like something you do?
I wouldn't say yet. I realised it's something that I could kind of do as a living. Still a student, so I'm still trying to balance things and have an idea of what I want to do in the future. But it's definitely a kind of path that I'm trying to keep open as long as possible. But yeah, back to that race. That was my first international race, and it was quite a nice way to introduce myself to that scene of racing. And yeah, things have gone, well, something's good, something's bad in terms of like racing internationally from there.
Yeah, I mean that's a great achievement, and like I said, on your first international race, that is some feat, and the sport's been able to take you traveling, like I said, around the world. That must be an enjoyable factor as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool parts about our sport is that there's so many amazing places you can travel to and race, and whether it's kind of cities abroad or kind of where I was recently for under 23 World Champs on the coast of Spain. There's definitely loads of cool experiences and cultures to kind of to immerse yourself in.
Again, I'll come back to that latest race of yours, but I want to talk about something that hampered you a little bit. So a few years ago, you had an injury that put you out for up to a year, was it not? Was it a stress fracture? I mean, just how did that affect you?
So yeah, I was quite young really to have quite a bad injury like that. I was in wasn't kind of life threatening or anything, but it put me out for a long period of time. So yeah, I had a stress fracture in my metatarsal back in 2019, I think it was. And I was on crutches for about 10 weeks, I think it was, and then had a really, really lengthy return to run program. So I think I had the stress fracture back in February, March. It was diagnosed in April. And then I didn't race again until September. I didn't even finish that race. Due to one reason or another. So yeah, technically I didn't really finish a race again for 13, 14 months. So yeah, it was a long time to be out. And especially when I was fairly young as I was, it was quite challenging kind of mentally, because obviously as every athlete feels, why is it me that's picked up this injury? You want to get back out there. All your mates are out racing and training and having a great time with each other. And there's a real sense of FOMO. Not being with them or not getting the same experiences that they do. So yeah, that was definitely challenging, but yeah, there was always light at the end of the tunnel. So that was just something to keep yourself motivated with.
Yeah, and it's great the way you've come back and been able to be successful, because essentially you were, a year behind. Like you said, you won that junior race at 18, but you'd had 14 months, less experience than all your competitors as well.
Yeah.
So, that's a massive accomplishment. And like you said, to be able to come back from that at that age must have been quite tricky, because I know personally, because obviously from knowing you anyway, I knew you trained hard and across three sports. That must take up so much of your time. I mean, how did you adapt to just realizing this is not part of your world for a long time, or it was a very slow process to come back?
I think as hard as it was being so young, it was also quite a good thing, because to experience something like that at a young age, I must have been about 15 maybe when that happened. So to experience that then being in a place where I've got my parents with me, I've got my brothers. It's you're never really on your own for too long. Whereas if I was at uni and I had a first serious injury, quite often you can be a bit isolated, especially if that's kind of the group that you socialize with, or not socialize, but train with so much and see a lot of the time. If you suddenly go from seeing them every day to not seeing them, it can be quite hard. So having that injury experience, where yeah, like you said, it's not your world anymore. All that training and racing while you're recovering, you always know that things are going to get better. So having smaller injuries since, like I've broken my collarbone, a few kind of minor things here and there, you always know that things aren't really so bad. They might seem bad at the moment, but it's always going to be better. Just takes time, and it's just knowing that it takes time and trusting the process, really.
And not being able to finish that first race back, like you said, it was, did you say, about 6 months after the diagnosis? So
yeah,
it was probably a bit soon if like you said, you didn't finish a race for another 8 months after that. I mean, how frustrating was that to think you were back and realise it wasn't to be?
I think I was happy to be back on the start line. I think part of the reason I didn't finish the race was I was a bit rusty, my skills weren't quite there, and I just basically overcooked it into a corner and crashed. Nothing significant, but just enough to put me out of the race.
Well, if we come back to modern day then, so you're at university now, balancing your studies. We were just talking a little bit before starting the recording, studying economics and business management. So I can imagine that's quite a tough ask to try balance a course such as that with your aspirations of triathlon.
No, it's definitely hard, but as now in my kind of second year of uni, and I think that having that first year, I've kind of been able to work out how to balance things. I'm not perfect by any means, but I've definitely got a grasp of what's required. And basically, you come back from training a bit tired, you kind of want to chill out with your mates, but you just got to hit the books a bit and do enough to keep yourself honest, keep yourself going, and not fall too far behind too soon is what I try to do.
And you're at university as well, where you've got such great facilities, and I can imagine that a great training program for yourself, but also the exposure to, Bucks events as well as, ones that you compete at and have competed at for a number of years as well. So is that extra competition sort of healthy? And I imagine meeting new people through it as well, or is it,
I think so, yeah.
Has it become too much?
I think there's a danger of it becoming too much because you've obviously got Bucks, but you've got all the races that you do obviously Bucks is important, particularly for the uni, but there's many athletes have other priorities and other races to do. But I'm actually racing Bucks duathlon next weekend, talking of duathlons again. So it'll be different for me. I've just kind of come back from off season. I'm just getting fit again. So I'll go there, have a good time, race, and maybe try and help out some of my mates and other athletes in the squad and centre to hopefully try and get good results themselves.
So if we talk about the last couple of years gone by, so you've stepped out of junior level events now, and you're an adult now, Ben. So before building up to this under 23 World Championship, what's the year look like for you?
So we had a trial race about 5 weeks before the championships. So before that, I had, I'd say, about a 5-week block of training that was specific to that race. Basically, trying to kind of prep myself physically and physiologically for the race. For the demands of the race, because it was slightly longer than normal. The trial race in prep for the Olympic distance race for World Champs. So it consists of things like 5-hour rides, slightly longer swims, slightly longer runs, just kind of all stuff to, like I said, prep myself as best I can for that race. And then I was lucky enough to win the trial race and book myself a slot for the Under 23 World Champs race. And then it was trying to basically replicate the same stuff I had been doing because I knew it worked. Gets a bit harder when the weather gets a bit colder, it's a bit wetter, especially like motivation's obviously high, but it's just hard to kind of keep doing things the same when the weather changes.
The format slightly changes in triathlon when you come into senior events. So is it right that the distances get longer and so on? And was that your first exposure to that as well?
Yeah. So you race, it's called a sprint distance as a junior. So that's a 750 meter swim, 20k bike, 5k run. And then as a senior, you race a mixture of sprint and then the Olympic distance or standard distance, which is effectively double. So a 1500 meter swim, 40k bike, and then a 10k run at the end. So that was
and how long roughly is that taking you?
So I think I can't remember exactly how long it took me in the race, World Champs. It's all kind of dependent on the race because it's drafting on the bike. So sometimes the bike can be quick if it's if small groups, or if it's a big group, everyone kind of looks at each other and it slows down. But I'd say a rough estimate is between an hour and 45 and an hour and 50 minutes on the men's side.
That seems obscenely quick.
Yeah.
It just shows obviously the level you're at and obviously how little I know as well. But So the World Champs, was that the last event of the season for
Yeah.
you? Other than the Bucks, obviously you got the duathlon next week, but
Yeah. So it was my last event. Yeah.
So did it feel like everything had sort of built up to this? Your first senior, even though it's under 23 still age capped, your first senior distances event. Was it just a case of I've got to just give it everything and sort of see where I'm at the moment?
It was definitely the idea of racing it, and the aim to race it was definitely on the back of my mind at the start of the season. But it was only probably 6 to 8 weeks before the trial race that I kind of started to think, do you know what, I've maybe got a good shot here at qualifying for the race. And then with each week and each good week of training, that confidence started to build. And it's not something I kind of go around saying, oh yeah, I feel really good. Really hoping to train. It's just within myself, I'm confident, I'm happy. I know things are going in the right direction. And just, if it didn't go to plan, it didn't go to plan. But thankfully it did.
And as I've mentioned a few times already then, so you finished 11th, which is it, you were the highest performing Brit in the men's side, is that right?
Yeah. So in that race, the highest performing Brit.
So that's a massive achievement, obviously. 20 or 21?
21, yeah.
So you've got another 3 years or 2 years now of this race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your aspirations?
I think big aspiration would be to try and get a medal or get close to a medal at some point. I think it's silly to aim too low. You've got to aim as high as you can, really. If you fall short, you fall short. I think just try and get as close to a medal as I can. Might do it, might not, but just have to see how the next couple of years go.
Well, Ben, I think that just about wraps it up. So thank you very much for having me, and all the best for next week, and also for your off season and years going forward. I'm sure we'll definitely be keeping an eye on your progress.
Thank you.
Right, we are experiencing, as you can see, some technical difficulties. Please bear with us.
Just to show we're live.
Just definitely live. Having camera issues, strangely enough. I think the camera's had enough of seeing Woodsy and Kdog and has just given up hope. But what we would like to for you to do is stay with us, because we've got some excellent bits coming up. We've got some excellent footage on dodgeball. Some decent, obviously, results, and
put 50p in the meter.
That's what we need to do. But please bear with us while we go through this. We are awaiting Oxford City Stars highlights. Actually, we had some highlights from their game at the last weekend where they actually had a really good performance. They ran out 5-2 winners against Milton Keynes Thunder. So it would be good to stay tuned to watch that clip. It's a rare win for Oxford City Stars at the moment.
Maybe the first of many, perhaps.
Hopefully they've turned a corner and they can start putting those results together. I know the support there on a Sunday at Oxpens is absolutely amazing. I can't express enough how brilliant the support is for Oxford City Stars. They are away on Sunday, the 1st of December, against Slough Jets, another great name for an ice hockey team. And there's some great names in there: Milton Keynes Thunder, Chelmsford Tigers,
Victor Dynamos, all sorts. I think while we're on the subject, while we've got these technical issues, I think it's a good opportunity again just to say we are live every week, as this obviously shows that things do occasionally go wrong. Our camera has packed up, but we've asked many times if you could send footage to us, send your clips in to us. We will feature it, and we've got our Christmas special coming up. And as you remember from last year, Aberdeen United development did a brilliant video, the 12 Aberdeen Uniteds of Christmas, the 12 Devs of Christmas. It was fantastic and very funny. So if you've got anything like that coming up and recording it, please send it in to us and we'll feature it. We know that we share our packages with everybody, all the local leagues, the North Berks League. We'd like to feature more of the North Berks League, to be honest. We haven't had a huge amount of footage coming in from the North Berks, but if you are listening in from the North Berks League, please get in touch with us. The Banbury District Lord Jersey FA, of course, among others, and the Whitney District FA. So we do go all the way down to the proper grassroots football. So please do send your stuff in. While we're waiting for the camera to come alive again, we'll just have a little talk about the floods and all the pictures that we've seen this week. Minster Lovell Sailing Club,
Cropredy,
Cropredy, Banbury United,
absolutely,
absolutely shocking. Minster Lovell, they've decided they're going to open the sailing club again, I think, which is what the last time they did that.
Well, there was a tide coming in on.
There were waves, weren't there?
There were waves. So
it
was. I mean, I've never seen Carterton flooded, so that was a sight not really wanting to be seen. That's for sure. So also this weekend on Saturday the 30th of November, get along to the Red Lion.
Oh yes.
In Whitney for, is it Tough to Talk? They're doing live music from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. It should be an amazing afternoon and evening there. Get along. It's not too much, about the experiences of males struggling to speak about certain things, and it's all in aid of that. And Whitney Football Club have been instrumental in getting that organised.
They have, and Whitney Town, their community initiatives that they've put together since they reformed really have been amazing. They're working with the Trussell Trust for food banks as well, and as you've probably seen on a Monday night, they have an open evening where people can just turn up at the ATP at Whitney and get involved, and it's really good community engagement from Whitney Town, and long may that continue, because it's really important for the club and for the community of Whitney. In the meantime, just a word also about Puritans Radio to Stuart Green, who runs Puritans Radio. So the devastating floods up at Banbury United, terrible. Really sadly, it's damaged a lot of the equipment at Puritans Radio, which is a community radio station. We often have their interviews that we use.
Yeah.
And thoughts are with Stuart, because he's thankfully he's been able to broadcast from his home today. It's Stuart's life, really. He absolutely loves doing it, and we hope that Puritans Radio get back really soon as well, because it's pretty important, I think, that these community initiatives continue. We're just going to have a quick check to see if our cameras are back.
Producer.
Can we take a brief pause and then restart the software and we'll start again?
Okay, we're going to have a commercial break.
Commercial break. This is ITV now.
We will be back after these messages, viewers. Please bear with us, and we'll be back shortly.
In the room. Have we got Oxford City highlights? No.
Yeah, we have got Oxford City highlights.
Oxford City Stars highlights.
Right, you're going to be back on.
Oh, we're back on.
Oh, we're back live.
Hello.
Hello again.
The camera's working.
Welcome back to Ox Sports Unleashed, live on a Thursday night.
The worrying thing there was when we went blank and stopped talking, more people started watching, Darryl. It's down to one again now.
Thanks for bearing with us and staying with us through that time. Oh, we're back. There we are. Hello. What a night. You can only say we do throw this together.
We really do.
Oh, yes, we do.
Do you think we might have a blooper for the Christmas?
I think we might have a big blooper there. I have to say, I thought we did very well on the podcast that we...
Waffling.
Waffling, yeah. Waffle podcast.
Waffle podcast.
Yes.
Right, anyway, should we crack on now?
Yes,
we're back, so.
Yeah, we will. Ice hockey. I was talking about ice hockey. I think we've gone through the results and upcoming fixtures on our little podcast there. Well, yeah, we could show those. Why not?
Go on, producer. Send us
we haven't got the highlights. I'm taking, producer Patrick. No. Okay, there we go. Scorers: Williams, Covey, Shuru, and Hemmings.
Well
Mayer.
remembered as well. You remembered the score and the team they were playing against.
Yeah, they did well. So yeah, really good performance. Let's hope they can continue that. And as I mentioned, the week ahead. Sunday the 1st of December, City Stars are actually away at Slough Jets, and the face-off is at 6 o'clock, an early face-off.
Into December.
Into
Proper
December.
winter starts.
Absolutely. I think, I know, I have a feeling why the camera went off. We were going to show Matt Drinkwater's goal of the season at Kingham, and it all went pear-shaped, Matt. So I don't know what it is. We will show Matt Drinkwater's goal for Kingham at some point in the series. Just not tonight.
Just wondering whether it was Russians hacking in. Because
could be.
All those thousands of viewers watching us, they were waiting with bated breath to see the ice hockey results. Okay, right, back to the agenda, shall we say now, and a bit more football for you now. And this was the midweek game for Oxford City. So they had that 2-1 defeat at Buxton on Saturday in the National League North. They had a really tough trip to Chester, horrible trip to make in midweek, and not even I went to that one, so I have to be honest. So they went up to the Diva Stadium at Chester, a ground that is half in Wales and half in England, and during COVID, half the ground was cut off from COVID, the other half wasn't, but that's another matter. And these are the highlights from the game up at Chester on Tuesday.
Ross, a 3-1 defeat against Chester tonight. You can see how cold it is by the mist behind you. But it's another, is it fair to say it's another game where we've shot ourselves in the foot?
Twice. Shot both feet. Just really frustrated on those sort of points, really. We knew it was going to be a difficult task, but when we give them 2 soft goals like we did, it's an uphill battle straight away. The second goal is okay from them, well worked, but we can defend it better. But we was offside too much today. We were on the back foot. So yeah, really frustrating. But you give yourself a mountain to climb when you give sloppy goals away. And we looked a little bit lethargic and like we were just going to come and play some good football because we did it against Buxton. So a bit of a learning curve, I think, for the players. A bit of a reality check, I'd say. So they need to understand that these errors are costing the whole team and the football club. We can't really work on individual errors and train. That's we've got to change the personnel or tweak the personnel or tweak the shape. But in terms of sort of the concentration levels and the goals we've sort of given away the last couple of games, it's been on us really, not the opposition. So really frustrated with that.
There you go, Ross Jenkins reflecting on that 3-1 defeat at Chester. There are more people watching our show that were in the away end at Chester on Tuesday evening at the moment. I thought there was a grand total of 0 in the away end. I do know that one supporter went, Mark Neal, because he goes everywhere. And a little shout out to Mark Neal, actually, Oxford City supporter. I saw a tweet on Saturday. He was helping a disabled lady clearing the snow off of her car up at Buxton. Fair play, Mark, well done. Yeah. And City's super fan, and I'm sure he was there at Chester on Tuesday. Hopefully they can bounce back on Saturday.
Yes, they need to, as they're back in the just above the relegation zone, I think. In the relegation zone, yeah. That takes us on to American football. We did do a piece last series on Oxford Saints, very early on actually in our series last year, and they made us really welcome. They are now looking for more players, so there is a recruitment day on the 1st of December. I think it's coming up on Sunday, and it is, there we are, don't miss the recruitment day, Sunday the 1st of December. It is at Oxford Academy on the undercover on the 3G, so it's 11 o'clock till 1 o'clock, or welcome. So if you're looking to be the next inspiring American footballer, get along to Oxford Saints Recruitment Day. They would be pleased to see you, and we wish them luck and hope Sunday goes very well. Now, a couple of weeks ago, this old man decided to have a little bit of a go at dodgeball.
And it completely ruined you.
It completely ruined me, obviously, for what happened a week after. But we were pleased to send our intrepid reporter, Patrick Lock.
And a lot fitter as well.
A lot fitter. To a friendly game on Monday. And we've got some amazing highlights and some really good footage here, and an interview with the main man at Oxford Thunderdodge.
A couple of weeks ago, we descended on the John Mason School in Abingdon for Woodsy's dodgeball initiation, and we returned again this week for another training session, but this time one with a twist as they welcomed their friends from the Berkshire Royals for a training match. While we were down there, we once again took the opportunity to catch up with Peter Charridge, the club's development officer, and he explained to us the relationship between the two clubs.
Berkshire Royals members, the founders, all started off at Thunderdodge, so kind of an offshoot club for us. It was always great to have them back, so yeah, show them who's boss. But it's been good. It's been some fun, competitive sessions all night. Everyone's done really well. I think everyone's got a lot of experience heading into the actual season that's starting in December.
There was plenty of action on offer, with entertaining competitive dodgeball aplenty, with 2 games played simultaneously. The sides rotated every half an hour or so to make sure that everyone could play everyone.
So we had just a bit of a league match. So we had 3 teams from Berkshire Royals and 2 teams for Thunderdodge, and we just had everyone play everyone. We calculate the number of sets that we've won, and we work out a leaderboard based on Matt's on who won the stuff. And at the end, we always do a last man standing match where all teams, so every player's on the court together. So it's pretty chaotic, but always a good laugh. So usually if you get targeted pretty early.
The clue's in the name. It's last man standing, and the fewer people there are, the smaller the court gets. And it does get very tight when you're one of the last people there.
It does get like fish in a barrel at some point, but no, it's always fun.
Of course, training isn't all about fun, however. This is a small matter of preparing for what has been a largely successful campaign in their regional league so far.
We're in the Southeast Regional League, currently second. Very close compared to the Canterbury Crocodiles. They beat us by 1 set in our first match, so we've got...
It's great names there.
I know, it's good, it's good. So we played Maidstone Falcons, Berkshire Royals' second team, and... oh my goodness.
Someone else.
As PB, yeah, PB's top view, so Powerball. Yeah, they'll play incredibly well. But yeah, we did very well, so we're ahead by a set difference by a mile, but we have to beat Crocodiles in the finals. So that's coming up in 2 weeks' time. So that's going to be yeah, we're going to bring out a game on that one, so it'll be fun to see how we do. Anyway.
With Woodsy otherwise occupied on Monday evening and absent from John Mason School, I did take the opportunity to try and get some honest feedback on his abilities from last time we were down there. Luckily for him, however, the reviews he got were nothing other than glowing.
He took the shot well. He was doing very well. He made some amazing catches, really good ricocheting. So
I was in trouble for that as well, to didn't catch many of them on camera. Just to show that I was at least paying attention that day, I'd better show some proof that I did at least capture a couple of your catches, Woodsy. Thunderdodge are always on the lookout for welcoming new players of all abilities, and you'll be assured of a very warm welcome by everyone at the club, and even more so a good time. If you are interested, you can contact the club at oxfordthunderdodge@yahoo.com. But who better to sell the club to you than Peter himself, so I'll leave the final words to him.
So like we said, we've got second team, third team, we've got, let's see, the first team, anyone's welcome to join us. It's meritocracy, no cliques here or anything, so anyone's welcome. And everyone's really friendly to sport, and we've got, like I said, lots of clubs in the area that we train at as well, so there's lots of opportunities to get into the sport.
Thanks there to Peter, the ever-smiling Peter. really good entertainment, and I'm really pleased Patrick's got a pay rise because he got all 3 of my catches when people think I drop everything. So well done, Patrick. You did really well there. Rare footage, I think we can safely say. But I have to say, what great fun again that was, and what a piece that was put together there by Patrick. So we thank Patrick Lock for doing that. And our very best of wishes to Oxford Thunderdodge as they take on, wait for it, Canterbury Crocodiles on Sunday, the 8th of December.
I love that.
That's a top of the table clash. They could go top if they beat Canterbury in good style. If they win by a couple of sets, I think they may well go top. So we wish them all the very best. Oxford Thunderdodge, Canterbury Crocodiles.
Let's hope they...
you only get that here on Ox Sports Unleashed, I can assure you.
Let's hope they snap up the win.
We don't just throw this together.
We certainly do. I like Peter Charries. He's a man that loves his sport. He clearly loves that sport. And as was mentioned a few times, if you're interested in having a go or getting involved with Thunderdodge, Oxford Thunderdodge, then get in touch with Peter. He'll be only too pleased to hear from you. And it's a growing sport. And as you said, and as Patrick has said, it's a really good spectator sport. And I've got to big up Patrick as well. I don't like bigging people up too often, but that was an excellent, really excellent piece of work from.
It's his first time of trying as well.
Patrick.
So
I know, yeah.
Really
It can only get worse from there.
Yeah,
can't
it can only go downhill.
Yeah. Right, okay, onwards and upwards. We are coming towards the end of our show, and despite the 4 or 5 minute technical interlude, we are on for the hour, which is good. Now we're going to bring our regular results roundup, a little bit shorter than normal this week because of Storm Bert again. That's the second time he's been mentioned this evening. But here are all the results from the weekend that's just gone and the midweek games. There you go. The only place that you can get all the results, not just the football. I know that they are available elsewhere, but we give you all the rugby union results as well. There weren't many this week, only a couple. It was one of their break weeks, if you like. Everybody returns to action this weekend, including Chinner, who have come fresh from the back of their Not the Prem Cup win last week. They are away to the the Cornish Pirates on Saturday in the English Championship. And good luck to Chinner, and good luck to all of our teams locally for the weekend to come. And the weather is looking a lot better, so hopefully we'll see a bit more. Okay, we'll have a look now at the league tables, such as they are from the weekend after the games that we've seen. Oxford United's 2 defeats, a 6-2 at home to Middlesbrough and 3-0 away to Sheffield United, has seen them drop down to 18th in the Championship. It's a tough old season for Oxford United, but they're playing Millwall at the Kassam Stadium this weekend, so who knows, they could get back into it. Oxford City, as we mentioned earlier, they've now dropped into the relegation zone, and they've played more games than a couple of teams around them as well, just 4 wins so far, and only one of those at home as well. So they need to really start picking up soon. And I have to say, it sounds a bit harsh, they need to get some defenders in, I think, because defensively they've been pretty poor. As Ross Jenkins has alluded to himself, they've given too many goals away, and that's not being controversial. Ross has said it himself, that they are shooting themselves in the foot because they're playing some good stuff, but they're in the bottom 4 at the moment. Into the Premier Division Central of the Southern League, Banbury United's poor form continued with that 4-1 defeat at Harbour Town. They've dropped down to 12th place, but as we've mentioned previously, though, it is a tight league actually, and they could still get themselves back up the table with a couple of wins, but they're currently sitting in mid-table, 6 wins from their 17 games. Into Division 1 Central, Tame United's good form. They're really flying the flag for Oxfordshire football at the moment. They are in cracking form and moved into the playoff places this week with that win at the weekend. And 10 wins from their 15 games and no draws so far, which is quite unusual. We don't very often see that. And up to 30 points. And they've got a game in hand on a couple of teams above them, 2 games in hand on Flackwell. So they're actually in a really good position there. They have a shout at maybe getting up towards top spot. So keep going, Tame. Not so good though at the bottom of the table. As you can see, Northlea's season of disappointment continues. They are at the bottom, 5 points from their 16 games, and they really are being cast adrift in that relegation zone. Kidlington also in the drop zone with 11 points from 15 games. Didcot Town's game against Houston on Saturday was postponed, so no change there in that division. I think most games in Division 1 South fell by the wayside, and they are sitting again in mid-table, 6 wins from their 16 games so far, comfortably in mid-table. Into the Women's National League, Southern Division, and Oxford United maintaining their decent form, and they're in 3rd place, just behind #United and Ipswich Town. And into Division 1 Southwest of the National League, Aberdeen United there sitting in 9th place. And finally, Oxford City in the Southern Regional Women's Football League Premier Division. That's a bit of a mouthful, that, isn't it?
It was a long one.
Sitting in 2nd place, level on points now with Ascot United, although Ascot have played a couple of games fewer than Oxford City, but again, good to see Oxford City ladies doing really well, even if the other men's team at the moment are not flying the flag quite so well. But yeah, well done to City's women.
And as Kdog's already alluded to, Oxford United at home, 12:30 kick-off against Millwall. Let's hope for some good cheer at the Kassam for Saturday. National League North, Oxford City also at home against Farsley Celtic. That's a 3 p.m. kick-off at the M Group Stadium. And the Southern League Premier Central, Banbury United also at home against Lowestoft Town. And in Southern League Division 1 South, this is controversy here. Didcot Town away to Mousel. 3 p.m.
Another
at Trungle Park. I love that name, Trungle Park.
Another ridiculously long trip for Didcot Town. They've been down to, oh my goodness,
incredible.
Down to Cornwall constantly. It's
still in that same division. Kidlington away to Ware, and Northlea also away at Barton Rovers. And Tame United have a trip to Beaconsfield Town, all 3 p.m. kickoffs there. And into the Women's National League Division 1 Southwest, Aberdeen United will play Keynsham Town at 2 p.m. And in the Southern Region Women's Football League Premier Division, Oxford City at home against Stolling. I've got loads of cables at Scholling in the way of that, so I could not tell. So I'm having a great night tonight. There we go. A roundup of next week's fixtures. And thank you for the tables, Kdog, which is good. Some of our teams are doing quite well.
Absolutely. Coming up next week, a little plug for you. Hopefully people will be interested and will watch this. We hope to have Witney Town manager Ben Reardon with us in the studio to talk about the first third of the season. They've had a cracking start to life in the Senior League, and we're hoping to have Ben Reardon in the studio next week, and we know that will generate some interest because it has done previously, so please do tune in next week for that, and that will be our main feature, if you like, for next Thursday's show.
Yep, no, thank you for that. And like I've said before, if you've got any clips, send it to that email address at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. We will use them.
Absolutely.
We will use yours, Matt Drinkwater, I promise, at some point in the series.
It'll be worth the wait.
It'll be worth the wait. Well, will it? I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, moving swiftly on.
There's more people watching now than ever.
We're waiting for us to have another blooper, I'm sure. That just about wraps it up for this week. Thank you for joining us. The week that Sri Lanka fell to their lowest ever Test match score of 42 all out in only 13 overs. That was a little bit like that. Thank you for joining us, as I mentioned. Please join us again next Thursday, live at 8 o'clock. Definitely live. And join us where we'll unleash some more Ox Sports. It's good night from me.
See ya.